Hello, it's Tangle Tuesday. I'm Loretta West, a certified Zentangle teacher, soul collage facilitator, and all-around art gal. And I want to thank you for joining me today for this fun lesson. It's going to be fairly easy today, because I feel like nothing too complicated myself. You're going to need a piece of paper. Let's get these things out of the way here. You're going to need some sort of piece of paper. It can be photocopy paper like this. It can be a Zentangle tile like this, a square one. You could also certainly use a Zentangle tile like this today. Or you could use any kind of watercolor paper or mixed media paper or any kind of drawing paper that you have will work. And you're going to need a pencil. I happen to have a Zentangle. It's an Intangle HB pencil. I've got two pens because last time my pens kind of went funny. I think they were too cold. So I kept them upstairs last night and they're working fine this morning. And the first is a small Faber-Castell Pitt pen, which is a 0.3, they call it. It's pretty much close to an 0.1 if you're using a micron, pretty close. And for a little thicker line, I have what they call their F for Fred, and they call it 0.5. So it's about the same. I guess that would be a 0.05 or I don't know, whatever, a little thicker in the micron world. And if you want to do some color, I've got some Tombow markers I could use today, but I think I'm going to use some colored pencils. So I've got my, you can see this is my little pencil case, which has got my art on it. And just fun. I'm going to have a whole raft of pencils to work with. Just take a minute to give yourself permission to play. You might even want to make yourself little slips of paper and decorate them with Zentangle or paint or whatever that just say the word play on them. And put them around the house or wherever your space is to remind you to give yourself permission to play. So give yourself a permission slip. Take a few minutes to play. And also give yourself gratitude for being here. Gratitude that, hey, you made it to another day. This is big these days. You know, here you are. This is big. Each day counts a lot. You're going to take your whatever paper you're going to use. I'm going to use a Zentangle. Got a gooper on it, but that's okay. I'll keep using it. We're embracing the imperfection today. And your pencil. And you're going to put a dot. Now, it doesn't have to be in the center. It can be off center. I'm going to do mine off center on purpose, right? So I'm going to do mine a little bit up here. It's a little dot right there. You can see that. Let me zoom that in a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then with my smaller nib pen, I'm going to start from the middle. And I'm going to do a curved line out to, oh, now we're going to be funny, out towards the edge. And these lines are all going to have the same curvature, right? Then I'm going to do another one coming out the bottom. So coming out this way. And whatever is here. And then another one here. And another one is here. And if you only do 4 lines today with that, and you can make them come out to the edge or not. I'm just going to crease these to the edge. And that's all you want to do, that's fine. I'm going to go with a few more lines here. So you can make as many legs to the spider as you want. Just keep in mind that you want to have a little bit of space, quite a bit of space actually, in between each leg, because we're going to do some tangle patterns in between. So there they are, and some are going to be the same distance apart in width, and some are going to be fatter. Let whatever is here be here today. Go with your gut. This feels good. I think I need another line in there. Go with that. It doesn't have to be a certain number of lines. So that's what I've decided to do. But you get to do what you want to do. Like I said, you could start with 4. You could do 2. Whatever the number of lines is fine. And then we're going to start a little ways away from this one. We'll start at the top and do a line the other way. So we're sort of making a fish shape. And another one. Perfection is an interesting thing. I mean, there's some things you want perfection, right? You want your eye surgeon has to be really good at it. And there's lots of professions where people that are really perfectionists, that is, what you do. And there are artists, certainly many artists, successful artists who are perfectionists. I always wonder how happy they are. It has its place, perfectionism. There's no doubt about it. So there you have this kind of design. It's a little string, if you will. And let's start in these triangles. And it's a fragment of the Tangle Tripoli. If you're not familiar, it's Tripoli, which is an official Zentangle pattern. So a fragment just means a little portion of that. And how it goes is we're going to do C-shaped lines around the edge, like that. And in the middle, you can aura those lines. You can do another tangle in there, like a cretonne might be an idea, but the classic is to put an orb right there. And I've just left a little space there. So we're just going to go around, or Zentangle or mandala, doing the same thing. And each one that you do will probably be different. And just allow that difference to be here. Allow it to be here. And there's a quote, I think, by Pema Chandran about, in a book that she wrote about when things fall apart. And the philosophy is that all the time, things are falling apart and coming back together again. and just allow that to be here, because that's just the way it is in life. And I think right now, on the world stage and in Canada where I live, there's been a lot of falling apart lately. And it's interesting to watch it slowly come together. We don't like it when things fall apart, and we don't tend to have a lot of patience for it. But as my husband likes to say, which absolutely drives me crazy most days, is things take the time they take. So there you have Tripoli on the end of your hourglass kind of shape. And where did I put my tea? I don't know. It was right here and it's gone. I just had it. Oh, there it is over here. And then we're going to aura, which means parallel this shape, the in-between shape, or not. That is your choice. You get to make all the little decisions today. And because my original design is not symmetrical, these are not going to be symmetrical either, which is what is interesting. And unique to me. So yours will be unique to you. You could do exactly what I'm doing, but I encourage you to do what you want to do. I would really like it if people didn't do a carbon copy of what I'm doing, but to branch out. If there's a tangle, you think, oh man, that's a good one, but I've got another one that I'd like to try in here in this space. Then do it. Use your own tangle bank, I call it, what you have. I'm just giving you a starting point. And notice a couple things. Make sure your feet are on the floor. Your back is relatively upright, not winging one way or the other. And that you're holding your pen quite softly and move it slowly. So maybe this is all you do today. Maybe, oh, I'm happy with that. That's a cool thing right there. And you just go right into color. That's just fine. Give yourself permission to play. Say, oh, this is kind of a flower design. This is very cool. So then what am I going to do in this part, Loretta? What are you going to do? I did a lot of playing around with this yesterday. Like, what was I going to do? And so I sit here still undecided. So we're going to fill some clouds in here. We're going to do pop cloud just for fun because it's sunny and I want to remember those clouds. Cloud. So it starts sort of like popcorn. 1, 2, 3 lobes. Coming back, 2, 3, and then joining a little bit almost to the other one. 2, 3, 4. And then you can do another one. And try not to do them so they're all in the same direction, but if they are, it's okay. That's how you're working today. That's how you're rolling. That's all right. So I'm coming up. Whatever is here, let it come into the party. Like I said before, if you've come up with another tangle that you think, oh, this is perfect space for, say, like Huggins would be a good idea. I want to be a little more fancy, then go right ahead and do it. I just relaxed my legs, realized I was kind of holding onto the chair with my thighs for some reason. So if you can sort of keep mindful of where you might be holding while you're doing this, you're holding your jaw. Maybe a lot of people do that. The jaw being the most or the strongest joint in the body. It gets a lot of work out. So we tend to hold there. So, be mindful of where you might be holding your tension so you can let it go. Sometimes you just have to say, what I like to say is just let go, or I release. A mental cue. Or surrender is also a good word. It's right here in this time. I hope you are safe and feeling safe. Ooh, I like that. Ooh. Start another one over here. You could alternate it if you have even numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you have an even number, you could do pop cloud in one and something else in another. But I think I'm going to do pop cloud all over because I really like it. It's lovely. It's rhythmical. Try to sort of get into the rhythm of moving your pen. It really helps to steady you. Take a deep breath. Let that breath kind of shake loose our diaphragm, where we also hold a lot of tension, especially women. We tend to hold it in the solar plexus. And that is where we breathe. So I was very happy to just let things out as they come. Any noise that comes out while you do this, it'd be a ah sound or a sh sound, anything that sort of pops in, let it come out. It might be ugh. It might be a swear word. I don't know. Your own space. You get to swear as much as you want. There was some sort of strange article about swearing I read. Was that people that swore tended to have less tension? Got that things out in a verbal way. I think it's easier because then you don't have to think of the equivalent non-swear word. Again, I'm changing the direction of the pop cloud so that all my clouds are not going in the same direction, hopefully. I just did that one in the same direction just when I said it. Haha. I want to do this over here. These also make great little sheep. All I have to do is add little sheep faces and 4 little black sheep legs. And you've got some cool looking sheep. I can turn my paper around and then that will help me to direct it in another direction here, go in another direction. I'm just letting it, not every one of them is going to look the same as the other one. I'm just letting it be what's here is here for me right now. Not trying to direct it too much. Just trying to feel the rhythm of what I'm doing. Try to keep your hand nice and soft. That will help your shoulder relax, your arm relax, your jaw relax. Try to be mindful of how you are moving in space. And as I sigh, and sighing is so good, that relieving tension that we all hold. It's part of living on the with gravity is this tension. So I'm just going to do 3 for the demo, because if I did this, it's going to take a very long time for me to finish that, but you're going to finish that part up on your own. And the next one is just, we're going to do the inside of these shapes here. And it's very simple. We're just going to use a chevron pattern. So I'm going to start at the middle. And they're pretty much equidistant. They're not perfect. If you want to give them a little fish face, you could. You could put a little eye there. If you wanted to. You don't have to. And then I'm going to, in between every other one, do some lines here. Start in the middle. Yeah. Doing every other one, but if you want to do something else in there, you can certainly do that. Allow it to be here, whatever comes up for you. Just allow it to be here. And I think I'll just do 2 dots here in between. So we're not doing a lot of patterns today, keeping it really simple, really fun and joyful and easy. Try to reclaim a little joy. I love in the poem that I read about, the perfect world of television. And it's the same on the internet. The perfect world of any of the social media that we try to emulate, maybe. And it just doesn't exist. Oh, finish this one here. I'll do another one here. And if you wanted to, it's probably too late now, but you could do, one with the chevron's face towards the center and another one with the chevron's face towards the other way, the tail. And I just thought of that, sorry. Be interesting to see if you used a square piece of paper, how that worked for you, how it works for you. If it changes the shape of the design, it probably does. That would be kind of cool to see. Okay, so I have some colored pencils here. These are Prisma colored pencils. I'm just going to test them out on another piece of paper. Oops, 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 get another piece of paper here. So I'll use the back of this Zentangle tile because it's the same paper as I'm using. And just see how this goes. They've got a yellow here, which is 916. So I'm just seeing, laying them down together to see how they work together. Do they fight like siblings? Can. And there's a green, that one is chartreuse. And this one is turquoise, muted turquoise. And this one is powder blue, which every time I think of powder blue, I think of a princess telephone. For some reason, my parents had one in their bedroom. So fancy. Okay. So I'm going to take and do a little colored pencil work on my pop cloud. And I'm just going to come in and where they overlap, just going very lightly. I'm just using little circles with my pencil. I'm not pressing hard. I'm keeping my brain active by also thinking about where I'm sitting, how am I sitting, trying not to collapse into one hip, which we do because we're trying to see under our hands. So we can tend to do that. So if you can be a little mindful of where you are, how you're sitting, and if you're sitting upright as much as possible and bending at the hip crease. Very handy to keep that in mind. That and with this number 1088 muted turquoise, and just go in where it's overlapping again with darker color. So I try to keep the number of, or the different colors, pardon me, the numbers down to between 3 and 5. I find if I bring out too many, I can get a little crazy and things look a little too busy and for me. So I try to keep it that way. This green, super duper green chartreuse 8989. I'm just going to do that around the edge here. I just need some spring green, man. Things are starting to uncover here in the north. Things are melting. Some beautiful days where I could sit outside in the sun, listen to the snow melt, and read. It's been really lovely. The air is so clear and fresh. And these bits. These are not my usual color combinations, so this is really good to sort of get myself out of the comfort zone. Permission to play with different things. And where it here in these intersecting bits, I can go back with this turquoise, muted turquoise number 1088 and just go right over that. you want to use markers or watercolors or whatever you'd like to use, or you don't want to do that and you want to shade it all with a pencil, go right ahead. Just play around. It's all practice. You don't have to show anybody what you've done, but if you want to, you can certainly share it on the Tangle Tuesday Facebook page. And you can also share it on Instagram and tag me, please, so I can see as well. Loretta, Loretta .west. The dot's important. .artist. I'd like to see what you've created from this little springboard of an idea. Let's see what happens if I do this. Fish coming back with the muted turquoise. I say most of the time I choose really bold colors, so this is a very different departure for me. I'm liking it as we sort of are in that transition of time here. It's sort of a fall spring. I think last week was the day that was between the spring equinox and the winter solstice. So right in the middle. It's a little bit of brightness coming through, but we're still get winter days. Still had snow yesterday. Snow was coming down. So we can go back and where it goes under, get a little bit of pressure. So there you have it. I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe to this video if you haven't already. And we will see you next week for Tangle Tuesday. And I thank you so much for joining me. And please keep well.